Don't I say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokratse, we have automerat, Novokratsis bullish, automerat,
Novokratsis bearish.
Novokratsis bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon.
Bitcoin, please go to moon. Okay. So, welcome back to Enlightened Trading. Hopefully everything works out quite all right. Yeah. So just starting a live stream here. Anybody here? No, not yet. Hopefully we'll get some traffic soon. So welcome to Enlightened Trading. Let's say hello in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Bitcoin mooning, what up? Finally, pretty much working like I thought it would. If you enjoy the stream and if you're going to watch further in the stream, make sure you leave a like down below. You comment, let me know what you think and where do you think of Bitcoin is going in the near-term future and of course in the long-term future as well. Very interesting what's going on here in the crypto market. We're seeing huge pumps on some of these altcoins. Make sure you stick until the end because I'm going to go through many other altcoins today as well. We're going to do some altcoin streaming and just doing some analysis along the way, of course. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you leave a like down below. You subscribe to the channel, of course. Hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it, of course. So please go ahead and do that. Okay, so where is Bitcoin going? And what was I expecting? And actually this was pretty interesting because the last time I made a video or streamed, I do not quite recall what I did, but I did say that, as you can see here on the chart, that we had this downwards sloping trend, of course in the short term, and we probably were forming an inverse head and shoulders here. You can still see it quite clear, I think, with here the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. And of course then we saw the breakout above key resistance, which was at around 34,800 to 35,000. We then saw a breakout and a retrace, and then I don't know why this line is here. Okay, and then I said we are probably going like step by step here to the upside, not just a pump like we did the last time, most likely going step by step. And you can see how nicely I actually called these two highs here, and then also approximately the third high at the 38,000 resistance level, which came in quite nicely here. And we now have two clear resistance and one which hopefully has now become support. And I was looking at this chart also here, of course, in my free time. And if you enjoy the content, then make sure you let me know if you are interested in a Telegram group where I give my signals, or basically I just provide you with my personal analysis on the market, and you can do with that as you please, but not more for now. Maybe I will launch some indicators once, but not, of course, at least in the short term. I will focus on trading crypto because this can be quite profitable if you do it the right way. So Bitcoin, of course, breaking out today once again. Very bullish structure overall. I'm very bullish here on Bitcoin on actually almost any time frame. I will just delete, or I will actually go, no, I will delete it. So I will delete here my drawings. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. So I most likely will never get them off because TradingView somehow does not want me to delete my drawings sometimes. I mean, of course, I like to have them, but not always. And actually, this is taking me too long. I'm using something different. I don't care. Okay, much better. So we formed this ascending triangle here, which was quite clear, at least in my opinion. We also had here a 9 around the breakout on the indicator sequential, which is a pretty bullish sign, especially this consolidation right here. So you have a touch here on the top, a move to the downside where you form a low in the trend and move along the trend line here on the bottom. Then you come up to your resistance level, which was approximately around 37,800 to 38,000, and then you, after you move downwards, you get a second time to this exact level. You bounce higher than you did before, so you formed a higher low compared to this lower low right here. And of course, you then come to once again to the resistance line, which is now a line of least resistance on the top. Because we have now 3 touches, you then come up even more bullish than you were before, because you did not have here on the bottom another touch of the trend line. You just formed higher lows every time, but even out of the vicinity of this bottom trend line, which is even more bullish. And then you have to break out once you consolidate here for a little bit longer, and then you were very tight in a nice candle to the upside. And we would of course now like to see Bitcoin hold these gains in the long term. I think, at least personally, this looks very much like, like a cup and handle here, where you form a rounding bottom and then a little bit a tiny retrace in a cup formation. And I think we'll probably take a little bit more time and not yet break out of our current resistance, which is around 38,300 to 400. We have a clear resistance level, and we are currently retracing down from this level. Not surprising. Yes, so I think we could form another retest of 37,700, and afterwards we can then see a rally again to the upside and retest 38,400. This would of course be a very bullish case. We can take even longer time. This wouldn't be surprising when you form a bigger ascending triangle and you form another higher low compared to here on the downside around 36,100. You form another higher low around like 37,000, and then see a third retest, or at least in this short consolidation here, a short retest around 38,400. Yes, so there are a few possibilities. I'm more leaning to the bullish case, meaning we won't significantly drop below 37,800. As I said, it's of course a bullish case, but I'm bullishly biased definitely here in this market. And I actually just realized, didn't start the music. Should be playing now. Hopefully not too loud. Okay. Yeah, so this is Bitcoin's case. As I said, looking for a break in not later than 2 days. I would say we are most likely going to break 38,000, but we also of course could break it today. Bitcoin has the potential to do so, definitely. Looking here at the daily on Bitcoin, we have a 9 sell actually. This is though a 9 sell in consolidation. It's not big consolidation, but I think this 9 sell does not necessarily have to hold price back here. We of course could just see a rally to the upside, especially as I said, since there's more in consolidation than anything else, because we're still under like 38,500. If we really break out to the upside and rally significantly into the $40,000 level, we can of course see a retrace, and I think it could be tough to challenge 42,000 in the short term. Maybe we will see another retrace on this level as well. I will though just keep my trades where they are. I could re-enter on some of my positions, of course, but I won't do so. I will just keep my positions where they are, and they are actually quite nicely in profit currently. I did trade what I said I would do, which is just buy the dip. I didn't do it too fancy. I just averaged here all the way down. Basically, I began buying in like $31,000 level. Then I exited some of my position, and then I re-entered at a 30,000 and a little bit lower at like 29,000, and I again entered around 32,000, and once again around 33 to 32,000 in this consolidation. So I'm quite nicely in profit, and also re-entered in this consolidation below 38,500, which is currently, as I said, keeping me very, very bullish in this market. Yeah, so this was Bitcoin, and we can now go into altcoins. Let's hear it for some altcoins in the chat. What altcoins you would like me to cover, definitely mention them in the chat down below. Yes, okay, so I just prepared something a little bit for you, which is CRX. Actually, this is the altcoin which is currently going completely parabolic, around 80% gains versus the dollar. So strong day for CRX USD definitely. And what is pretty interesting was this head and shoulders, which did not break to the downside, which in my opinion was the more likely case looking at statistics. But since this of course is a bull market and altcoins are prone to catch up in Bitcoin sometime, most likely, at least the more established ones, we are of course seeing some of these altcoins pump as well. And actually neglect here on the left hand side, you can see CRX USD. On the right hand side, you can see Twitter. And I will compare those two by using something quite common, which is the head and shoulders pattern, where you form a left shoulder ahead and then the right shoulder, and usually you have a neckline on the bottom, which is your line of least resistance, which also happens to be horizontal, which is of course a nice case for a probabilistic outcome of this statistic normality, which leads to further downside in this case. And also on the right hand side, you can see Twitter, just your usually Twitter company, and you have also your left shoulder, your head, and then your right shoulder. I will zoom out a little bit. So it was more of complex shoulder here on the right hand side, also a neckline on the bottom, usually breaking to the downside. And in both cases we just saw continuing upside, and on Twitter we actually came back lower once again, but then this was Corona, and afterwards we saw a very strong recovery. Yeah, so what I mean by this, I just saw the similarities between CRX USD and Twitter. I just found it interesting. And yeah, so I mean CRX, if I just go back to one chart only, is going currently completely parabolic and is near its all-time highs. I think I need to pull this up. No. Oh, interestingly, on Notice Coinbase, so it doesn't include all the data. Here on Binance, we have, I think, all the data because this was launched on Binance. And the music is a little bit too loud for me. I will. So. All right, here. So we have our final resistance level, which is the all-time high, and I will use my which is right at $2.72.6, in our current resistance level, which is very important, is around the $2 mark. We already wicked into the vicinity of the $2 mark at $2.05. There is the current resistance. I would call this a retest of that level, and we could now see again a retrace. This is of course a very strong candle. We have to wait and see where it closes. On the hourly chart it looks very bullish. I like this consolidation here on top and then another breakout. 50-minute also looks very bullish, but of course extended, not too surprising. CRX USD. Why I'm actually mentioning these altcoins which are currently pumping is not because I would buy them up here. I'm actually mentioning them because usually once you see altcoins or a coin of significance break above an all-time high, and especially if it consolidates below it, then I'm very bullish on it, because you already then have established a certain trend into a direction. You are consolidating below a blue sky breaker resistance, which is also a very bullish sign. And yeah, so I'm currently waiting for, of course, a bigger consolidation below a significant resistance level. I do not like to just pump through it currently, because this will most likely just bring price back down again, because you just can't handle all of these buying orders here on the top. And we are currently about to form a 9 sell on the 4-hour chart. Very interesting. This would be a second consecutive 9 sell on the 4-hour chart. So I would call for a top here around the $2 mark. We only have 40 minutes to go until we form this 9 sell, but of course this 9 sell could pump all the way through $2 and into $2.72.6 mark, which is of course the all-time high on CRX USD. And once we break that, I mean, if we do it, as I said, in the next 4 hours, then I'm not bullish. But if we consolidate here for like weeks, days, then I could be looking for a long entry. Sadly enough, CRX is not traded on the exchanges I'm trading at. Yeah, so I might not do so. But CRX looking pretty bullish. I mean, in the short term, of course, but in the long term, it still does have to prove to me that it wants to hold its gains. And what I could be looking for is for support on some of these levels, which are no, this is not what I want to do. So our first support at least would then be around $1.33 on CRX, and afterwards I would look around the $1 mark. This would also line with our previous resistance of this head and shoulders. The high on head and shoulders was also around the $1 mark, so I would call for a I mean, we could recall a retrace here 50% and still be bullish. If we bounce quickly off of this mark, you could expect here a retrace out of from $2 to like $1, so minus 50%, and afterwards in like a very nice bounce to the upside, moving into the next resistance, and then again like into the all-time high. So if CRX would do something like this, then this could be very bullish and could send CRX above its all-time high in like a few days, I mean weeks most likely. Crypto does move quite fast. For example, something like Dogecoin moves quite fast in a day. Yeah. So I again see I have one viewer. Anyone, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, but make sure you leave a comment down below so I know you are still around. We definitely love this. Yeah, so CRX, as I said, I'm looking for a retrace. It has gone a little bit too far, a little bit too fast. 4 hour is quite extended, of course. In general, yes. And also we have the 9 sell coming in, which is currently, at least short term, keeping me bearish. Okay, looking at Ethereum. Yeah, so ETHUSD, I mean, it's extremely bullish. I've been trading this for now a few weeks, I think, already. I initially entered on this downwards leg, I think, when we formed around support an low, which kept me quite bullish. I think I entered somewhere in this vicinity, around like 1,300, and then I re-entered lower around 1,200, which kept me at like break even around 1,280 to 1,300, which was quite a nice position. And I still kept my position. I kept it all the way up to 1,400, which then again gave another retrace on which I entered once again. So I then was like break even around 1,340, and on this consolidation right here I re-entered, which then gave me the possibility to ride this to the upside upon a blue sky breakout, meaning a breakout above all-time highs. We had this ascending triangle forming for a few weeks actually, which kept me also very bullish. And I mean, you can see what happened, and I mean, I did not predict it perfectly. As you can see, I actually expected a retrace into the 1,400 mark, which did not happen yet. It of course still can happen. I now will have a position ready for this scenario, but for now Ethereum went above my resistance, which I also called out for, which was the resistance of our ascending channel right here. But I'm just currently using the upwards resistance line because it's the most important, and we did perfectly. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. We then had our perfect touch of this resistance line, upon which I approximately re-entered. I did not enter perfectly in this consolidation, but I entered because I did not think it was too probable we could just rally it through, but we retested it nicely, and I entered around like 1,600 to 1,500. I mean, like 1,600 around this mark mostly. And yes, it just kept me in a very nice position once again, which I'm still riding for further upside. I will take some profit. I already took some profit in order to pay for the bills, pay for like fees and stuff. I already took a little bit profit, actually pretty much at the highs around like 1,680 to 50. I took profit and I re-entered like $100 lower approximately. Yeah, so still running my position, very happy with it. And of course in Bitcoin I have a similar big position, just it's like I think like double it in Ethereum. So I'm pretty bullish here on Ethereum in general. I think we can see very strong upside for it, especially in the short term, but also in the long term. But of course this is now starting to be extended. We will have a 9 sell tomorrow. Ethereum could experience a sell, but since Bitcoin actually has its 9 sell today, I'm not too worried about it. It could be the retrace to 1,450, which I'm looking for. But for now, I'm not too sure. As I said, Bitcoin still has its 9 sell today. We could top out, of course, also tomorrow on a 1 on Bitcoin. And if that happens, then Ethereum will have its 9 sell, which will validate itself into the 1,450 resistance, support in this case. So we could still see tomorrow a pump to the upside into the 1,800 mark, and then see our retrace down to 1,450 approximately to $1,420. Yeah, so Ethereum looking very bullish, and if we actually really do get this retrace into the 1,400 mark, then I'm looking for a nice buying the dip opportunity and a move to the upside into the 2,000 mark in no time. Yeah, so Ethereum very bullish. Of course, if Bitcoin is going to break its all-time high sometime in the next few days, maybe even this weekend, could be, then Ethereum will definitely move significantly higher, at least that's my opinion. Maybe Ethereum BTC won't outpace Bitcoin, but so far in the short term it did. I can show you it, of course. If I take the ETH BTC chart, which is a very bullish chart, we are again breaking to new swing highs on ETH BTC. Very bullish, looking very strong, and looks like it wants to go higher. The daily chart is very bullish. The weekly one is also very bullish. This is an inverse head and shoulders, and with a perfect retest of its prior resistance, which now has become support. I really like this chart. Ethereum BTC looks very nice, and looks like it wants to go into the 5 and 6% mark. It really does. Yeah, so we could experience first resistance around 0.0538, and afterwards I would be looking at the 6.6 and of course the 0.87 mark. These could be all targets, but in my opinion more in the longer term, and Ethereum BTC will definitely claim its point in the short term, but it will again get a retrace. But ETH BTC in general looks very bullish, and this looks like a very nice bottom, which at least should take it. If I use my trend line, deactivate my logarithmic chart, this could take ETH BTC all the way to like the 6.6 mark. We can of course also just use the percentage gains from the range to the bottom, around 57%, and to the upside. Actually I would need to do this like this, where from the bottom these are 135% gains, and we would now expect double that, which would bring us like to 260 to 266%. I think I did that right. Yes, approximately. To the 287 mark, and this is, as I said, around the 6% range, meaning 0.062 to 0.066 Satoshi. Yeah, so very bullish in general. If this happens, I would be definitely thrilled, and I wouldn't take a short. I think once it does get there, it will take a little bit of a breather, maybe even come all the way down to 0.04, or even for a bigger retest of the 0.037 mark. I don't see this as too probable, because we already retested it quite nicely, on these two candles. I think this is sufficient of a breakout and sufficient of a retest in order to see a break to 0.06 on ETH/BTC. Nice ETH/BTC and ETH/USD going parabolic here. I love to see this, of course. It's very satisfying. Actually, I exited my Litecoin position. I did not like where it was. I mean, I probably should have just kept it where it was, but I just rather entered on Bitcoin and more on Ethereum, because you just looked more bullish and I was more confident in adding to ETH compared to Litecoin. Of course, Litecoin is still way down from its all-time high, so it still has more of a challenge, but there seems to be a little resistance before its current swing high. The next resistance will then be approximately 250, and currently the all-time high, I mean the current swing high, which is around 183, 184. There will of course also be resistance on Litecoin. Yeah, so I'm not too confident in it yet. I would love to buy a blue sky breakout on Litecoin, especially if it does similar to what Ethereum is currently doing, which is a consolidation below the all-time high, which would keep me very bullish and also most likely lead me to buying a blue sky breakout. So basically, I'm a little more conservative around these altcoins. I will enter if they really tell me that they want to go higher. I do not see on some of these altcoins. This is of course also the reason why I did not enter any position on 0x USD, because I just did not see it in the chart. I mean, you could have looked for this wedging formation. I mean, this wedging formation on 0x USD, which most likely will lead to further upside. But I mean, this is more a gamble than anything else, at least in my opinion. These altcoins are pretty random, and of course you are able to predict it to some degree and you can just hodl them. Yeah, but I'm waiting for a trade on these altcoins, and I would like to have more likely trade than they gave me yet. I mean, Ethereum BTC or Ethereum USD gave me a very nice trade, so if they do something like them, then I would be very happy to trade them. Yeah, so we can also take a look here at XLM, Stellar Lumen. I first analyze this chart down here at the bottom, and then once again here in this consolidation, and I want the these pennants, I firstly looked for some sort of pennant, which did not happen that well. We then formed somewhat of a support. I mean, you can twist them any way you want, basically. But we definitely formed some sort of consolidation. I mean, it's not clean. Most of these altcoins aren't too clean. Ethereum USD is pretty clean, for example. But you had a nice retest of prior resistance, which then became support upon breaking it. So you could have, of course, entered a very nice position here around the 11 cent to 12 cent mark. This would have gave you a nice trading setup, and then of course very large gains. So support and resistance once again acting as a nice trading setup, which they very often do. We then of course saw the pump and to our next resistance target. So we had a few resistance targets. I firstly looked for 28 cents basically. Next one was 30 cents because it was firstly a structural resistance, afterwards also around number, of course, and then I looked for 36 cents. We went all the way to 41. So in my opinion, this is more due to randomness. You can of course say it's currently breaking resistance, which I would be saying actually, because after this pump to the upside, which was more hyped than anything else, we saw a very nice respect of this resistance line, especially in the short term here in this consolidation. And we had 3 similar touches around it, and we're currently breaking it. So maybe we will really see a rally to its prior all-time high, which was around 46 cents, I believe. No, not quite. Actually, around, I mean, maybe this is not the whole, oh, yes it is. So 51 cents, I think, like 50 cents. Yeah, so 51 cents, I think. No, why? What's it doing, man? Yeah. So 51 cents is the all-time high on XLM. I'm currently looking more for a retest around 40 until further confirmation brings us to further upside, but there is of course heavy resistance around the 46 to 50 cent range, which will most likely lead it again to a correction. I don't think we will just break through it, but of course XLM could do just that as well. If XLM decides to consolidate here below the all-time high, which I said I would like on most of these altcoins, if they do so similar to what Ethereum did, then I would be happy to trade them, because they would then give me a more probable setup, which will lead to more probable gains, hopefully. Yeah, so I'm mostly waiting on these altcoins. I'm not yet adding into any significant positions besides Ethereum, which gave me exactly what I wanted. So, I mean, we heard Bitcoin please go to moon earlier in his live stream. I would also like Ethereum to go to the moon. I would love that. Okay, what altcoin should I do next? Actually, Litecoin looks quite clean here on weekly. I like the 2 above the 1, even though it's not green. Monthly is will have a 9 in a few weeks. Very interesting. Yeah, I like this. I mean, most likely it will have another retest of its current resistance, which is around $158. Afterwards, I'm looking on Litecoin for 166, and afterwards, of course, around $133 to $35, which will be, as I said, most likely the next resistance area. I would love for Litecoin to go here step by step. I like this retest of the prior swing high around 146, and I would expect now a retest of the next resistance, which is around 166. If we just blast through, I would look for 138 to 35. And I love Ethereum here. I just really love Ethereum. I love this chart. Looks so clean. I mean, we on Bitcoin had it, of course. And I also looked here at Ethereum for the ascending triangle, which it gave me. Yeah, it's so clean. I really like it. I think Ethereum is going here in the short term around 100. I mean 1,800 to 1,850. I don't see it going much further in the very short term, of course, but in like 2 weeks, I think we will be at $2,000 on Ethereum. If you would take these gains here, for example, like 9% from the bottom to the top, we would expect double that, which will approximately take us to 1,837. If you would only take the range of the channel, then this would take us approximately to where we are currently, I think. Yes, So we could also be experiencing some resistance right now. Not too surprising that we do. After the breakout, that we go up the width of the channel. This is actually perfectly where we are now. That's very nice. Yeah, it looks very clean. I mean, Ethereum could take a little bit more time here as well, and not already just pump above 1,750, which seems to be the key level for it in the short term. We can still get a retest around 1,700, especially if Bitcoin decides to do something similar and not just blast through 38,600. And you can see it already did not delete here my drawings. But what you gonna do? I also like the consolidation around the Ethereum 50-minute line of sell, which gave you a warning sign that consolidation is underway, and it was. Kind of looks like a very small ascending triangle. If I go to the 3-minute chart, then you could see it actually also gave you 2 9 cells on the top. That's funny. So let's see if Ethereum can actually reclaim its all-time high, which it of course will. I mean, there is of course a probability that it won't, but I really think so. I think it's very likely that Ethereum will move above its all-time high, which is, I mean, it's like, what, $10 away, not even. So let's go Ethereum. Ethereum, please go to moon.
Stop going
Sideways now. I say we going down to 1K, but Mr. No could say is bullish. Do nevers is bearish. 40,000. Woo! Please. Please. And we are dropping here. Drop. No God is bearish. Bottom it out. Oh. Yeah. So we can of course cover more altcoins, maybe something Maybe someone will join the live stream later on. Right, let's do some Cardano analysis. I did not talk about it for quite some time. The last time I talked about it was around like the 29th of January to 30th of January. I talked about Cardano USD and how I thought that I liked actually its setup. It was requested by a viewer of mine that I take a look at it, and it looked very clean, like in a sunny triangle, which of course had similarities to Ethereum. I also liked its retests. I kind of did not like its small descending triangle, but usually these break to the upside in these bull markets, and it did so. I could have traded it. I actually thought about adding a long position around the 40-cent mark. I didn't. I'm not really regretting it, especially since I usually do not trade ADA USD Cardano. I could do, but I'm not familiar with it, so I usually stay away from trading altcoins I'm not comfortable with trading, especially when using large position sizes. Ethereum actually now having approximately a retest of my sunny triangle. No, not really. Almost though. On the 3-minute, actually, it looks fine though. Yeah, that looks clean. Man, if we get another retest towards 1,750, I'm looking very long. I like this setup, but I'm not a scalper, so I would not trade these small time frames. I'm more of a swing trader. I use swings multiple days and weeks for my trades, and I take profit along the way, and I also sometimes add 2 positions along the way, especially if they are in the green. So Bitcoin taking a little bit of a breather, which is, you know, quite expected. I like it. I really do. I think if Bitcoin decides to break 38,000, we could see it run its all-time high. But as I said, I'm not too confident in it yet. It could just move step by step and be rather boring here upon breaking its all-time high. Maybe it will not do so, but if we take a look back here into the last bull cycle, then we can see upon breaking its all-time high, it gets very strong, very parabolic, 128 gains upon breaking the all-time high, which it did so recently, of course, as you might know. Very parabolic. I mean, again, very similar gains actually, like 20% less only, and the next move to the next point of resistance was like 68%, and then of course we did not really have any correction. Of course, on a daily we did have another correction, which from the all-time high was only like 60%. So these gains here to the next correction usually get less and less, meaning we had a very strong run up, and the next one will most likely be not as strong. Of course, still very strong, and I would expect around like 50% gains until the next target is reached. Yeah, so we won't just do another 100%, at least I don't think so. that we will just go to 80k in no time. I think we will take another retrace and maybe do something which we did the last time, which was perfectly retest the prior high of the correction, meaning after seeing the blue sky breakout, which was very bullish, we did not see a retest of the prior all-time high, but we did see upon the next correction. So the first correction was 38%, and right here, this was the first correction after the all-time high, and after it broke that correction, we saw like 68% to the upside, but afterwards we got a perfect retest of the prior all-time high and of the prior correction, because we then were in an ordinary bull market, which still adheres to chart analysis, let's say like that, and technical analysis from a technical and statistical perspective. So we then saw a very nice retest of the prior all-time high. So what I would be looking for on Bitcoin is that we get a breakout to like, I mean, an uptrend to like $60,000 approximately, meaning from the all-time high we'll do like 50%, maybe 45%, and once we do that, we will form, I mean, so we go up here, and once we do that, we actually, let me just pull this out a little bit. We correct, move to the current all-time high around 42,000, then form the next up leg, and once we break 61,000, we could look straight at 100k, maybe at 150k. This would be, of course, a very bullish scenario, but also I think a probable one, and maybe we will then see like a double bubble, because I mean, I think we're going a little bit too far too fast on Bitcoin, meaning I would have liked to see it a little bit more steady, and we could see something like what we did the last time. So since we have that big of adoption and so much money which could possibly flow into Bitcoin comparative to the last time, I mean, yes, we had much less liquidity, meaning little money can push prices a long way. So we do not have this now, but we have a lot of money sitting on the sidelines which is looking to enter on Bitcoin, meaning we could see a first bubble to like 150k or 100k, a retrace to maybe 50k or 70k, 80k, maybe only 100k at like a 50% retrace, and then we see another bubble leading to 300k. This would of course be a very bullish scenario. I think a sell around 100k is still a very nice sell, and one thing I would look out for, I mean, I will sell like, of course not my whole position sitting in Bitcoin, but I will sell a part of it, definitely. We actually just got our retest. We jumped lower, people got very bearish. We had another fake out, meaning we went lower than support. People panicked, had their stop losses triggered, and we're now seeing a bounce to the upside after bears got shaken out, or bulls got shaken out by bearish momentum. We now see another leg higher, in probably into resistance straight away, We could take some time here and like this retest. Looks like a fake out. And Ethereum to all-time highs after a short fake out. I love it. Might not love Ethereum here. This could be, I mean, okay, we're just pumping. Maybe this is a top here. Could be. Meaning with consolidation, then people get very bullish again after breaking to an all-time high. We dump all the way down. People who went long upon a breakout get stopped out again, and we come back down to 1,700. This is very possible. I mean, short term, this looks very possible actually. Sometime I will look for a retest of 1,700. It looks like a very clean level. As I said, it was also structurally important. So I think maybe not now. Maybe we will run straight to 1,800 before seeing another correction. Let's see. Yeah, but I think I'm actually going to wrap it up soon. I just took a little bit of profit on Ethereum. Maybe I will re-enter upon 1,700. Actually going to put in an order right now. I like to sell on the way and add back in these uptrends, especially if they are very clear. So currently entered an order. Nice. So Ethereum pumping higher. Nice. I like it. I love it. Never a bad idea to take some profit. You can always get back in. I like this saying. Nice. Very nice breakout. It can be very easy to trade these markets. Of course, usually trading is very difficult. I mean, especially if you don't know what you're doing and what your setup is, what your strategy is. My strategy, for example, was to average in this consolidation upon Ethereum, and also, of course, in this bigger consolidation on the daily and 4-hour chart, which kept me very bullish. And I added all the way down here in order to sell after a nice rally, which it already got, but I'm still looking for further upside, of course. As I said, around $2,000 looks like a very clean level to exit. I will, of course, not hold all the way through 2,000. Maybe I will only hold a short position. I mean, a small position, but you could actually look for a short around $2,000. I wouldn't do it because I do not like to short these markets. Only if you would have a very nice setup. because as I said, I'm a swing trader. I like to hold positions for a few days or weeks, and I wouldn't short these markets here, especially now, not for a few days or weeks. Chainlink also looks very interesting. I like its chart. Looks clean. If you bought any time here on this bottom support line, you would have made very well for yourself. I mean, can you adjust it? You probably need a pitchfork in order to do that. I like its trend line though, here on the bottom. I mean, you can draw it like this also. But I really like this ascending triangle, sort of ascending triangle. Where you have higher lows and similar highs. You know, similar highs, higher lows. Nothing too out of the ordinary. And I really, of course, like this consolidation after the breakout. Is it at all-time highs? I think it is. Yes, it is. I actually liked, or I would have bought Chainlink around $5. I never got to it. It stopped at $7.7, which is of course fine. Would have been a nice position though, of course. But in hindsight, it's 2020. Cardano. Okay, let's take a bigger look at Cardano. It had a very important resistance level around 40 cents. And it actually consolidated perfectly below it. Man, in hindsight, this looks so easy. This is such a brain dead trade. This is a consolidation below a very significant resistance level. And if you see the breakout, then this usually leads to a break to the next target, which I do not see too much resistance before 70 cents, but very little resistance. I mean, I see very little resistance before 70 cents, and a decent resistance at the all-time high, of course, around $1.41 on Cardano ADA/USD. I think there is a lot of room for it to rally here. No real worry actually. Yeah, and of course, if we consolidate below the all-time high on Cardano, if we come all the way up to it, then Bitcoin takes another very strong leg higher, for example. Yeah, and altcoins consolidate below their all-time high. Maybe then Bitcoin slows a little bit down around 80K, and we see the breakout. Then Bitcoin takes another weeks or like 2 months, rallying to its future all-time high, maybe around 200K, maybe around 150K, maybe to 300. It's very hard to tell. And then altcoins pick up in pace, rally above its all-time high, and of course gain a lot. So these pumps can look very little once we really get going on these altcoins. You can see this could look like this, where Cardano is very, very small here, but then on the linear chart, we then move much higher to like $20. But of course, this is I wouldn't say this will happen, but it could. Yeah, actually, I'm going to wrap it up. think this is sufficient of a stream for today. Hopefully someone enjoyed the stream. Hopefully someone will watch it. Hey, what you gonna do? I'm making money. Are you? Okay, so thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this stream, make sure you leave a like down below. You subscribe to the channel, of course, and you comment and tell me what altcoins you would like me to cover in my next videos and streams. Make sure you come on by. I usually mention everything on my Instagram. Right here at mooning_Lambo. Posting some memes, of course, on a regular basis, and here in my stories, I tell you to join my live streams. So, thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys and girls, people, back next time. Have a great weekend. Bye.